So if you're a golfer who struggles with their irons, getting good contact, good distance, well, I'm going to share with you today a little drill on how you're going to release the club like the best players in the world and show you a little exercise that one of the best players in the world uses on a regular basis that's really going to transform your ball striking and getting you striking ball and then turf and hitting the ball better than ever before. So I think from most golfers' perspective, there's nothing more frustrating than getting a great tee shot away because everyone says how difficult it is off the tee, but you've got a perfect lie, bit of loft in your hand, and then you step up and you just pop the ball up in the air. Even from a decent club head speed, you don't really generate any distance, and that weak shot out to the right. And yet you watch the best players in the world, and they kind of don't seem to set up a lot differently than you, but when they swing, it seems effortless, and they hit the ball a huge difference distance-wise. And we can see with a very similar club head speed there, I've picked up nearly 40 yards. So what's the key there? The key is simply, most golfers get at address there, and by the time they get back to impact, their impact position is incredibly similar to their address position. Whereas when you watch the best players in the world, they can go from their address position to their impact position being very, very different. Now, a lot's made about kind of the position the body gets into, and I'm not saying that's not important, but especially for me, the way we deliver the golf club and the position the hands and wrists are in creates a huge difference in strike. So what you'll tend to see is that from that address position, as a poor ball striker comes into impact, the shaft lean might even be a little bit backwards, but you'll see kind of where my logo will be on my glove pointing to the sky and my right palm also pointing to the sky, adding loft, really making it difficult to get that low point too far ahead of the golf ball and just not compressing the ball. Whereas what you'll see with the best players in the world is by the time they get to impact, it's much more the logo of the club looking more out in front and my right palm looking much more down to the ground. So how are we going to get you doing that on a regular basis? So the first thing I want to talk about is we're going to do a little drill that Ludwig Oberg uses, and we're going to pop our hands on as normal, but then you're going to take your right hand off and just have it so it's resting against the side of the club. And you're just going to literally swing halfway back and down and try and keep the pressure on top of the shaft as you make some little swings. And then all you're going to do is step into the golf ball and make that little swing. And we see, even though it went a little bit out to the right, we can see from 52 mile an hour club head speed, 71 yards carry, but the two numbers I love there are my low point's 5 inches ahead and the launch angle's 17 degrees. Obviously in my videos, I always use technology as some feedback, not just kind of looking at the ball flight and saying what I think's happened. Now, I do appreciate when you play, you don't have this level of feedback. But even at a lot of driving ranges now, you've got top tracer, trackman range, which will give you launch angle. Now, as a rough guide, as some feedback, whatever the loft on that iron is at address, we're trying to turn it into about half at impact. And you can see if I'm going to de-loft that, I definitely need, Hogan used to talk about knuckles down, but certainly palm down much more. Whereas the more up to the sky they are, that's definitely going to produce more and more loft. So I would definitely use that little drill, get that feel of right hand on top. And certainly for any golfer who's very, very right-handed, I think sometimes when we talk about that lead wrist, left knuckles, some golfers have got no awareness what's going on with that left hand. So you do a little couple of those practice swings, then pop the right hand on properly and try and feel again that that right hand staying more on top. We're going to start with shorter swings and build into the longer swings. That felt amazing. And we can see there, 63 mile an hour, 7.4 inches ahead, launching at 13 degrees and 102 yards carry. So that one's actually carrying further the one I was swinging at nearly 80 mile an hour before and getting back into that poor position. And a lot of golfers will kind of joke and say, well, maybe you should just use that half swing all the way around. So then we're going to build a little bit more length into the backswing, but still try and get that feel, for me, of that right hand being on top of the shaft through impact. So again, 78 mile an hour club head speed, 5.3 inches ahead, 15.9 degrees launch, and 142 carry. Now, I have done videos about this in the past, and a question I often get asked, so I'll answer it before anyone asks it in this video, is why are we looking to de-loft the golf club? Why don't we just take a longer, less lofted iron to do that? Well, the key is, when we're at address here, the bottom of our swing is not where the golf ball is. What we're trying to do is move the lowest point of the golf swing ahead of the ball so that the club travels down and hits ball and then ground. Now, anytime you're de-lofting the club, you've got that chance to create that ball striking. If you just took a longer club and still delivered the club poorly, we can see where I'm going to hit the ground. There's the fat. When I miss the ground back here, the club travels back up, and that's the thin or the top. So it's really a case of getting that low point ahead, de-lofting the golf club, but it's what we do with those hands. So I always say to golfers, if you were to get there, that might be where you are at address. Where would you be at impact? And a lot of golfers will show me there. Whereas all the best players in the world are much more that way. Some of them very, very exaggerated, some not so much, but much more of this way into impact. And we can see knuckles down, right palm down to the ground. So I always love starting shorter with that backswing going longer. So we've gone kind of half swing, a little bit longer. Now can I go full swing? And you can hear that interaction with the mat. And that's definitely going to show up if you're out on turf, of getting more interaction, maybe deeper divots, longer divots. A lot of golfers say to me they never touch the ground with an iron. It's incredibly hard, not impossible, to get great ball striking if there's no interaction with the turf, because the lowest point of the swing maybe isn't far enough ahead, but definitely isn't deep enough into the ground. So now we're going to make a full swing, try and feel that that right hand stays more on top of the club. So 84 mile an hour, 3.9 inches ahead. Clubs travel down 4.8 degrees, 17 degrees launch, and 146 yard carry. Now, I'll be honest on that one. It felt good, but it didn't feel great. Didn't feel as exaggerated as I could do. So for me, I tend to like that feel. Really exaggerate with that right hand just pressing on the side. Then a little half swing. Really feeling that my right hand's very on top of the club, and then can I reproduce that on the full swing? So again, felt solid, 86 mile an hour, 3.9 inches ahead, clubs travel down 4.6 degrees, 17.6 launch, and most importantly, 148 yards carry. So if you really want to take your ball striking to the next level, there's lots of things you could work on, but the one big difference between the best ball strikers and the least good ball strikers is definitely how they release the club and how they use those wrists and the hands through impact. All the less good ball strikers will definitely see much more of this way into impact. Right palm up to the sky, knuckles out in front of me. Whereas all the best players in the world, left knuckles down, but right palm down to the ground, keeping that pressure on the club, de-lofting it, compressing the golf ball. And if you can work through that video, you might have to re-watch it and go through it again. I guarantee that will take your ball striking to a whole new level.